Begin.
Okay, so for starters, how many people actually do chores around their house regularly? How many people get paid for the chores they do around their house? Okay, so many kids across the U.S. are getting paid for the chores that they do in their house daily, and it needs to stop. There's many reasons why, but when you're not paid for chores, you learn responsibility, how to do things out of kindness, and how to be more reliable and helpful to not just yourself but others. You can help others. First of all is responsibility. So we learn responsibility by doing things, and when we're told to do something, we have the responsibility to do that. Chores are a responsibility of not just you, but all family members, and let's be quite frank, if we paid every family member to do chores, we would be broke. But recently, it's the older generation did not make money for the chores they did, so why should we? If you look at your handout, the years, it seems as we get more now than before, we are paying people to do chores around the house than we should. And a good quote about this is, so there's this Terry, I don't know her last name because it didn't give me her last name. She's a mother with children, wrote, and she has an article called 5 Reasons You Should Not Pay Your Kids to Do Chores. And she said, most people who are now parents today did all manner of household chores when they were growing up and did not expect any form of payment. So I think that really parents work all day and they do tons of things throughout the day to be able to make a home for you to live in, and I think that it's a responsibility for students and children to help do chores without being paid because the parents work. And plus, whenever you start doing chores, you realize that it makes other people happy, and that brings a satisfaction to yourself. And so we should do it out of kindness, and it'll also make us more reliable if we're just doing it out of kindness. So another quote from the 5 Reasons You Should Not Pay Your Children to Do Chores article says that when children learn that doing household chores is in itself a good behavior and obedience, they learn to offer help to others as they grow without expecting any form of monetary award. Monetary award meaning payment or money. So I think, again, it's good to do it out of kindness. But also, by not paying them, you're pushing children to learn and do more. So why should we pay children to learn? If we were going to pay children to learn, we would all be rich because we attend school every day. So by doing chores, you push children to learn how to clean and make them so that they can learn how to have a suitable household. Whenever they're older, they can know how to have everything neat and tidy and not just a mess. So they're learning, in a way, how to work and make things the way they should be. Plus, we're not always going to get paid for everything we do, so why should we? I mean, we're going to get paid for work, but we're not going to be paid for helping others, basically. We just are not going to be paid for everything, so we shouldn't pay children for chores. Dr. Harold S. Keplowitz, a psychiatrist that wrote in his article Why We Should Push Children, said, I think that pushing our kids is a matter of getting them out of their comfort zone, then pushing the zone to be further and further out. So, again, pushing them to learn, making them more knowledgeable on how to keep things clean and work. Many will often argue that we should pay children to do chores because it's a good way for them to earn money. From the article, 5 Reasons You Should Not Pay Your Kids to Do Chores, it says a good way to pay children without having them do chores is to pay them if they volunteer somewhere. or to pay them if they, for example, like do something out of the extraordinary. So pay them for that. Basically, there's like, I read this article called 5 Benefits of Hard Work, and I think it really sums up how hard work and chores and payments do not combine together. So this is by Jason Paqueta, a pharmacist, so he's not very much knowledgeable. I think that it just really shows. And it says, it builds character. So you learn how to be disciplined, focus, and use your time and resources. And quite frankly, our generation, we lack character in a way. We don't speak as much to others. We are more involved in social media. So this, I think, would be a good way to help us build character. And it helps us to ignore critics. Whenever we're cleaning and doing things, we will often be criticized on how we do it, but if we practice and are not paid for it and learn by doing chores, we can do it right and learn to ignore the critics that are around. But I would like to really draw your attention to this big thing that I believe is great, but it says, it gets things done. When you clean, you are getting things done, and you get that satisfaction. But when you're lazy and not cleaning, you aren't getting anything done, and you will not learn the skills that you need to keep a house suitable. And this, I think, goes back to we should not be paid for learning. So when children are not paid for chores, they learn responsibility and how to do things that are important for life. Therefore, we should stop being paid for the chores we do. And I will leave you with this. Do we want to know how to succeed in life, or do we just want to earn money in the future, not get it? Earn money now and in the future not get anywhere. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Give a round of applause. All right, thank you, Molly. And at this time, if our audience members have some questions that they could ask, we could go ahead and you can call on them.
Okay, so why do you think that, of course, you strongly believe that chores should not be rewarded with money, but why do you think volunteering should be rewarded with money, since if they're volunteering somewhere, you know, it's of course volunteer, and you don't really get that, but the parents go ahead and...
I think that it's more about, like, when you're in your house and you're doing stuff around the house, I mean, your parents don't get paid for doing stuff around the house, but when they're at work, they're getting paid for that kind of stuff. So I think that, like, by going out and volunteering, you're doing work that's not a responsibility for you to do, and so you should get paid for it, and that's a good way to, like, for parents to pay instead of... Does that answer your question, kind of?
Yeah, I have like a little bit of a kind of follow.
Well, let's make sure we get a chance to have other individuals.
As a child, you're not exactly allowed in the workforce, and so you don't have an opportunity to exactly make money. So, without the chores as a way to make money, what are other ways that people can make money?
Again, the volunteering, because I know, like, many church organizations, you can volunteer at those, you can, there's ways that kids can earn money besides doing chores. Plus, I think the legal age here is 15 to get a job, so if you're younger than that, again, volunteering, or if they're at school and they do something extraordinary that you didn't ask or was not told of them to do, they could earn money that way.
Okay, so this is kind of like back to Williams. Like, you answered her question, but I just want to know, like, on your personal preference, like, why do you think that getting paid to work in your house would be a better situation than getting paid to help others? So I feel like if you volunteer, but you get paid for volunteering, then it, like, takes out the point of volunteering. Like, you're not doing it to volunteer, you're doing it because you're going to get money out of it from your parents. Like, why would that be better than doing chores?
Okay, so whenever you're volunteering, you are offering to help, and you are helping the other people. You're not helping them by volunteering, and then you can, like, earn money from your parents, it's not coming from the people that you're volunteering for. It's like coming from your parents separately. And I think that volunteering would be more of like a job than cleaning your house would be. Yeah.
Also, like, chores is considered like volunteering to help out your family, like doing something for the family back. Like, your mom makes dinner, you clean the dishes, or you clean the floors, or your own stuff. So it's kind of like similar to volunteering, but just like at your own house.
But it's a responsibility. It's not a responsibility to volunteer somewhere else. Kind of thing. I feel like children should just help as a responsibility. Yes.
I just want to.
Are you? Oh, do you have your hand up here?
Yeah.
Oh, I did not see you. Okay, yeah. Let's go.
How would you, as a parent, enforce your children to do chores without monetary rewards, like some of their peers will be getting?
I feel like as a parent, I would make it like you need to do this, not make it optional. From a young age, I would start as like, this is your job. You do this, I do this, kind of thing. And if you start, you can't obviously enforce something like that to an older child, because then they would recognize that they haven't had to do it. So, but like if they start young and grow up doing it.
Okay, I'm going to have to end the questioning. Let's give her a round of applause. Thank you very much. And I will.